This must be the place. Professor Ubier's house.
Looks pretty creepy. I'd been away from Paris and hadn't seen Nico for nearly 6 months. I wanted to celebrate our reunion, but she had other plans. An appointment with an archaeologist. Something to do with a Mayan stone she came across while researching a story. The guy who answered the door didn't look much like an archaeologist to me. I had a bad feeling about this. I glanced over the books, vaguely hoping to find a copy of How to Deal with Poisonous Spiders While Tied to a Chair. No such luck. But I noticed one corner of the bookcase was supported by a loose block of wood. Maybe I'd been a little heavy-handed, but it was a question of survival. Of course, I was still tied to a chair in a burning house with no means of escape. I wasn't touching that spider goo. Yellow pus was seeping from below the bookcase. That spider was very squashed. With one mighty bound, our hero was free. Now, I had to deal with that fire. I had no time to sit around. The rope was shredded and no possible use to me. Inside, I found a bottle of tequila. Normally, I didn't drink strong spirits, but today was far from normal. Ew. Disgusting. Not only did the tequila burn like hell, I just managed to stop myself from swallowing the worm. There was something short, fleshy, and gross on the carpet. It was the worm from the bottle of tequila. In the drawer was a small decorated pot. Nice couple. That dart was sharper than a mosquito's business end, but this didn't deter me from getting it anyway. It was a stylish little canvas number containing a lipstick, a handwritten note, and a pair of nylon panties with a large love heart emblazoned across the front. It occurred to me that Nico's tastes must have really changed while I was away. Well, they could be useful. It was a pair of red, lace-trimmed panties decorated with a large black satin heart. I guess I had no business reading the note, but I figured it might give me a clue to what Nico was involved in. It was from André Labanau, the history student Nico had known at college. The letter was sentimental mush, and revealed that the exotic lingerie, as he called it, was a gift from him. It gave his telephone number. Labanau figured himself as a rival for Nico's affections, but I couldn't believe that that creep was in the running. I wasn't going to touch the box after that spider had been inside it. There was no pressure in the siphon. I guess it was out of gas. I racked my brains to think of a way to improvise a fire extinguisher. If only I'd stopped for a coffee at the airport. There was no The cabinet was locked. As I released the lock, something blew the doors open. The cabinet was already open. That cylinder was hot. I couldn't pick it up with my bare hands. The panties I'd found in Nico's bag were just what I needed to wrap around the hot cylinder. The cylinder gave out a faint hiss as the valve opened. What? Now I had one primed up and ready to use extinguisher. With a well-aimed squirt of his soda fountain, our unshakable hero saved the day. Now it was time to start looking for Nico. I wasn't going to burn myself on that red-hot doorknob, and it wasn't the time for subtlety. I'd found a piece of newspaper folded in two. It referred to a forthcoming eclipse of the sun. Unfortunately, it wouldn't be visible from Europe. The best place to view the eclipse would be Mexico. It was the newspaper clipping referring. Wrapped inside it, it was a bank statement for Ubier's account from an automatic telling machine. The last 5 withdrawals were for large amounts, and all made in Marseille. It was Ubier's bank statement. Much as I disliked him, Labanau might be my only hope of finding Nico. Hi, Andre?
Who is this?
It's George Stobart, Nico's boyfriend.
Don't you mean ex-boyfriend?
Look, I didn't call you just to pick a fight. I need to talk to you about Nico.
Can't you accept she's just not interested in you?
Listen, Andre, we need to talk. Nico's life depends on it.
Okay. You remember the cafe at Montfaucon?
Sure. Andre? You'd better show, you creep. I felt an irrational urge to wipe my ear. It was locked. The door was locked. I didn't fancy my chances of kicking this door down. The tiny point was only of use for picking small locks. The tiny point... It was Nico's lipstick. It wasn't my color, and it reminded me of clowns. It was that itsy-bitsy tequila worm. I really must remember to take it out of my pants before I send them to the laundry. The front door was made of hard wood, supported by a sturdy frame. Whatever lay beyond the door was going to remain a mystery. I wasn't going to touch the cabinet. I wasn't going to get through those sturdy bars. I wasn't going to get through those... The bookcase had fallen on its front, making it impossible to reach the books inside. I'd already ransacked, and besides which, there was nothing else in the drawer. There was nothing else in the drawer. I'd drunk enough. The projecting bracket had served its purpose. The rope was shredded and no pot. I wasn't touched. There was no one else I wanted to call. That isn't it. The pot contained a key. The house key didn't fit this lock. I unlocked the door. I wasn't looking forward to meeting Labino again, but he was my only link with Nico. There was no sign of Labino when I got to the cafe. I decided to order a coffee and wait for him. I couldn't snatch the man's flask while he was looking. Pardon me, but don't I know you?
Huh?
You were here the day I found the catacombs.
I was? Ah, yes. I remember you.
Yeah. Are you still in the police force?
No, not anymore. I'm a man of leisure. And what brings you back to Paris?
I'm waiting for an acquaintance.
Bon. And you have found another. Will you share a bottle of wine with me?
Hey, listen, I'd love to, but I need to keep a clear head.
So my company isn't good enough for you.
Why did you leave the police?
I was forced to retire. The golden handshake. Only in my case, it was more copper than gold.
How come?
I was made a scapegoat to cover up the department's inefficiencies.
Have you ever heard of a Professor Oubier?
No, monsieur. I don't recall the name.
Well, apparently he's an expert on Mayan art and history.
A little out of my field of experience, monsieur. If he'd been a serial killer or a sodomite, I might have been able to help.
What do you make of this dart?
I remember a case where the victim was killed with just such a device. The poison acted in seconds, causing his body to swell up like an inflatable life raft.
What do you make of this news cutting?
Orphanage supplied fast food chain?
No, it's the article above that.
Oh! Total eclipse of the sun. Well, that's very dull in comparison. I don't know anything about eclipses.
Tell me what you make of this note.
From my years of experience, I gained a pretty good insight into handwriting. I'd say that note was written by a compulsive, obsessive type with an Oedipus complex.
Hey, you got just about everything apart from the ponytail. What's that you're drinking?
It's wine.
I had no desire to go down into the sewers. It was too hot to sit inside the cafe. Besides, I might miss Labino. I had no place to go except back to Ubier's house. Besides, I didn't want to miss Labino. So... Oh, garçon. He ignored me. I'm sure it was deliberate. I had nothing else I wanted to add. The man was still looking. The man was still looking. He wouldn't have wanted that. Wrong, wrong. He wouldn't have wanted. Hey, you.
Quoi?
I'd like a cup of coffee if you don't mind.
When I finish serving this gentleman.
I had nothing else. He wouldn't have wanted that.
Un café.
Thanks. Do you know a guy called André Lobineau?
Oui, I know him. What of it?
I'm supposed to meet him here. Did I miss him?
No. I have not seen him today.
Have you heard of Professor Oubier?
Oui. He married that actress, the little dachshund. They used to come here. The nutty professor and the movie star.
If Oubier's wife was a movie star, how come I never heard of her?
She was big in France. The world doesn't stop at Hollywood. Her stage name was Carol Climax. She died in suspicious circumstances.
Do you know that man over there?
I should think so. He's a regular customer.
How did Oubier's wife die?
I heard he shot her.
And got away with it?
He had a good lawyer and a watertight alibi.
Why would an eminent public figure like Oubier risk everything for murder?
He wouldn't be the first, would he? Besides, people like him always get off.
What does that guy keep pouring out of his flask?
Absinthe.
Absinthe? I thought that was highly dangerous and outlawed in France.
It is. Don't look at me, I didn't sell it to him.
Look at this, a poison dart.
Ah oui, sure.
It's the real thing. Knocked my girlfriend out cold in a matter of seconds.
Romantic. Sounds like a real close relationship you have going.
That's all.
Thank you.
Well, this is a surprise, Georgie.
I wouldn't normally call you. But Nico's in trouble, Andre. Deep trouble. You have to help me find her.
What? What have you dragged her into this time?
It was you that recommended Professor Oubier as an expert on Mayan art. Now his butler's kidnapped her. And he tried to kill me.
Every time she gets involved with you, there is trouble. Walking out on her was the best thing you could do.
My father was dying, damn it. I had no choice.
Well, she soon recovered once she went back to her old friends.
Drop it, Andre. Right now, Nico's in danger, and we have to work together.
So, how can I help?
Nico needed to speak to Oubier about a stone.
Oh, you mean this stone?
So that's what all the trouble's about.
Precisely. Nicole told me to guard it with my life.
Oh, it's worth more than that, surely.
Oh, very funny.
What's funny is that your life really is on the line.
What are you talking about?
The stone is a Mayan artifact, dummy, and the guy who kidnapped Nico was from Central America. It was the stone they were after.
Oh my god, you mean I could be in danger too?
Does Oubier employ a guy from Central America?
Maybe. I don't know.
You never been to his house? I thought you guys were pals.
Fellow academics, Georgie. It's not quite the same thing.
Why didn't Nico take the stone to Oubier?
I don't know. Perhaps she suspected something like this would happen.
If she's been hurt, Andre, I'll break every bone in your body.
No, that's typical of you. Do you think I don't care what happens to Nicole?
It occurred to me that slugs don't have bones to break, but I kept that thought to myself. What do you think this is, Andre?
I don't know.
I'll give you a clue. It's got more backbone than you.
You think you're amusing, don't you?
Tell me about your friend Oubier.
He's more of a professional acquaintance than a friend.
I see. So you don't really know him at all.
No, I don't.
What can you tell me about this pot?
South or Central American, I'd say. I have a friend who'd be able to tell you more.
Where can I find this guy?
He owns a gallery on the left bank. The Gliese Gallery.
Take a look at this, Andre.
It's a bank statement?
Yeah. Professor Oubier's account. 5 large cash withdrawals in the space of 3 days. All from an automatic teller in Marseille. Suspicious, isn't it?
You're even more crazy than you were before.
What do you suppose the carving on the stone means?
I don't know. I haven't shown it to anyone.
Why don't you just give it to me?
I don't want your death on my conscience, George.
Where did Nico get the stone?
I'm not sure I should tell you.
Oh, you should.
It was something to do with smuggling.
See you later.
Goodbye, Georgie.
I've had enough of your games, Kala. Tell me what you've done with my stone.
I thought your business was simply smuggling cocaine, Karzak. Why are you so interested in that stone?
Either you tell me what I want to know, or Pablo here will make you talk.
Okay. Well, I figured someone at the university would be able to help. So I had a word with one of my girlfriends, and she told me her boyfriend was a lecturer. I sent the stone to the Department of Ethnology. You know, I figured it was South American, so... You're not buying this, are you?
That's enough! I don't have time to listen to your mindless prattle. We'll leave you to think it over. Come the morning, you'll be ready to talk.
The man was still looking. Do you miss being a gendarme?
Yes, of course I do. When I wore that uniform, I commanded respect. Not anymore.
I grabbed the flask and was struck by a powerful smell of absinthe, a highly potent and illegal alcoholic drink. Excuse me.
What?
Ever heard of Carol Climax, the movie star?
Yes, but I don't care for the kind of movie she's made. It's smut like that which has caused the moral decline of the Western world.
Is it true that Carol Climax was murdered by her husband?
First I heard of it. I thought she just retired.
Didn't you try to appeal against your dismissal?
There was no point. It was my word against that of the chief inspector. And he was a close friend of the director of the museum I was supposed to be patrolling.
Excuse me.
Leave me alone.
You need anything else?
There was nothing I wanted. It was too hot. Now I had another lead. I could either go back to Ubier's house or visit the Glee's gallery. I had a choice of destinations. The cafe. The Glee's gallery had style and class, but very few customers. The pots were protected by a glass case. Hi, girls. What's the joke?
あなたはキレてですね。
Okay, fine. The Wasteland. Too minimalistic for too much money. Rectangles in a desolate landscape. Highly cubist. Are you Mr. Glees, the owner?
Good God, no.
Then I guess that must be him over there, right?
Your powers of deductive reasoning astound me.
What's that you're drinking?
I'm not sure, but I have a suspicion it might be urine. Glees can't expect a favorable criticism of his gallery when he serves this muck.
Would you give me your opinion on this pot, sir?
Yes. Very rapouche.
Rapouche?
Hideous.
What the hell do you think you're doing? You smashed my pot.
Certainly it was not only worthless, it was ugly and offensive.
To you, maybe.
Believe me, I was doing you a favor.
That pot you smashed belonged to Professor Oubier.
Did it really? I thought the man had more taste.
I wasn't going to waste any more breath talking to that pompous blimp. Maybe I could turn the situation to my advantage, and at the same time, get my revenge. The pot had smashed into too many pieces to retrieve. I'd like to ask you a few questions, if you don't mind.
Certainly, sir. I'd be most happy to oblige.
You're English?
These days one prefers to think of oneself as European.
Sure. Whatever you say.
And how precisely may one assist you, sir?
I found this news story referring to a total eclipse of the sun.
Really, sir? Well, fascinating.
Have you heard of Professor Oubier?
Of course. His name is synonymous with Mayan art. A number of these artifacts were supplied by Oubier himself.
Do you believe the story that Oubier murdered his wife?
If it was true, who can blame him? She was an opportunist tramp. Well, that's what I heard.
Have you seen any of Oubier's wife's films?
Only one. Believe me, I was appalled, shocked, disgusted, and repulsed.
Well, you sure got your money's worth. Last time I went to the movies, I wasn't even titillated. There is a gentleman over there who seems to be enjoying your wine.
I can't think why. It was very cheap.
I suppose you have an import license for these relics?
Of course. But that's not my problem, sir. The professor arranges all the shipping. We simply collect the items from the docks.
Do you get many Central American Indians in here?
No, sir. This is Paris. Central America is several thousand kilometers southwest of here. Straight across the Atlantic Ocean and turn left. You can't miss it.
Well, as it happens, I saw some Central American Indians this very morning.
Tourists, sir. Paris is full of them at this time of year.
Could you tell me which docks Professor Oubier uses to import the artifacts?
Good God, no. I can't possibly reveal my commercial secrets.
What I really wanted to ask you about was a black stone.
A black stone?
Yeah, it's a Mayan artifact, about as big as my hand.
No, sir, one doesn't get much call for black stones. If it's Mayan artifacts you're interested in, I have some rather exquisite pots.
So did I, until that slob smashed it. Spheres in a barren waste. Oh, very. I could see a pattern emerging in this artist's work. I had no possible use for a credit card reader.
Excuse me, sir.
Uh-huh.
That area is private.
Oh, so I'm not allowed back here?
No, sir.
I'd had enough of talking to that. I splashed a little absinthe into the glass and hoped he wouldn't notice the change of color.
Did you put something in my drink?
Yeah, I did. What do you think?
Well, it's certainly an improvement over Gleese's wine. In fact, I could grow to like it.
Allow me. There was nothing in the case but styrofoam packing, but pasted on the side was the remains of a label. Underneath the logo of a flying bird were the words Condor Transglobal Mars. The rest of the label was missing. It was beginning to make sense. Oubier had organized Nico's abduction. Oubier withdrew money from Marseille. Oubier was connected with Transglobal, who shipped their goods from a warehouse in Marseille. That's how the torn Transglobal label had once read. Marseille, not Mars. It wasn't much of a lead, but it was all I had. I set off immediately to catch the evening train. It was almost dawn when I arrived in Marseille. I traced Condor Transglobal to a desolate dockside. The sign read, rightly enough, no entry.
What's the big idea?
I don't know. The dog went berserk for no apparent reason.
He's trained to do that. The idea is to deter any would-be intruder.
Oh, I get it. Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Just remember, he's a trained attack dog. A killer.
Hi, good morning.
Do you know what time it is?
No, I don't wear a watch. As my dad used to say, I'm not into time, man.
Well, you're too early.
What time is it anyhow?
The big hand's on the floor. Why aren't you in bed?
I can explain everything.
Never mind, I ain't that interested.
Does that dog belong to you?
Nah, he comes with the job. I just feed him every now and then.
More then than now, I'd say. Ever heard of Condor Transglobal?
Sure, they have a warehouse here.
Well, could I take a look?
Not until after the holidays. Come back in a month.
I'm looking for a young woman.
At the docks? What kind of woman do you have in mind?
You don't understand. It's my girlfriend I'm trying to find.
Well, I ain't seen her, and you should tell her the docks ain't no place for a young lady. They're dirty and they're dangerous.
I'm certain my girlfriend was brought here when she was abducted.
What? Your girl was kidnapped?
Yeah. Struck down by an Indian with a poisoned dart.
A poison dart, huh?
I could tell he didn't believe me. I have these very exotic panties.
Take them away, you pervert!
What time do you open the gates?
7.
Do you mind if I hang out here till the docks open?
Please yourself, but you'll have a long wait. It's Sunday, and tomorrow is the start of the national holiday. Everything is closed for a month.
Well, wouldn't you just know it? What's the dog's name?
20.
It's unusual for a dog.
It's his registration number. Security dog number 20.
I have to make a delivery to Condor Transglobal.
Where's your rig?
About half a mile down the road.
And you walked here? Jeez, are you some kind of nut?
Nah, it was easy. I just put one foot in front of the other. Are you gonna let me make my delivery?
Not without the paperwork. You get the papers, you make your delivery, and I get a fat backhander.
I was getting nowhere with the story about being a trucker. Take a look at this letter.
That's sick. Did you write it?
Oh, no. No, it's a letter from my girlfriend's admirer.
If I was you, I'd smack him in the mouth.
Well, that's not my style, but thanks for the advice. This is the dart that the Indian shot at my girlfriend.
Sheesh. That's pretty weird, but I don't see why you'd expect to find her here.
Do you know what kind of business Condor's involved in?
I'm paid to guard the gate. Their business is none of mine.
What's cooking?
Beans. You know a man can live on nothing but beans.
Not this one. Don't you ever get tired of eating beans?
Sure I do. What do you take me for?
And what's the alternative?
Peas. I can't eat them too often, though. They play hell with my digestion.
Have you ever heard of Professor Oubier?
Me? None of my friends are professors or anything like that.
Does number 20 have rabies?
Nah, just a bad attitude. Like I said, he's a trained attack dog. They took him when he was a puppy and messed with his head to make him the way he is.
Have you ever considered changing your diet?
What's wrong with beans and beer?
You need me to tell you? You're pumping out enough methane here to fill a dirigible. I gotta go now, but I'll be back.
Can't wait.
Ouch! That's hot. The panties would not have been thick enough to shield this. The bottle was just out of reach. Nothing was going to get me into that water if I could help it. My arms weren't long enough to reach the platform. I couldn't reach the cone. I couldn't reach the bucket. I couldn't reach the door without climbing into the room. I couldn't reach the documents. The stick had a hook on one end. I figured it was a boat hook, for hooking boats. The bottle was... I just knew that boat hook would be useful for something. As for the bottle, even if I couldn't find a use for it, I'd cleaned up the dock a little. It was the beer bottle that slob of a watchman had dumped in the sea, now half full of filthy dock water. The label read, "Surge, the beer that clears your head." You dropped your beer bottle.
Not me, pal.
Yes, you did. I saw you drop it right in the sea. Don't you know better than to dump your trash in the ocean?
I don't see no fish complaining.
See you later. That wouldn't work. Wrong, wrong, wrong. I don't think so. The bottle was half filled with water. Maybe it would cool the cone down enough to touch it.
Excuse me? Huh? Who's there?
My arms weren't long enough to reach the platform.
Hey, 20. Hey, 20.
That dog looked like he already had more worms than... Without a way of fighting, I would never have been able to propel it fast enough.
Wrong, wrong.
Not such a good idea.
Hello?
Ouch! That's hot. The bottle was half... Now I could see into the pipe which formed the chimney. That chimney looked very exposed without its cone. The bottle had blocked the chimney, and the hut was filling up with smoke. The box contained nothing but blank forms. Someone had once told me a piece of coal. Who was I to argue with irrational superstition? The packet was full of... That mug was a health risk. I decided to leave it where it was. I wouldn't have considered wearing it if it had been the last coat on Earth. The box contained... I realized that that wasn't...
Hey, 20. Come and get it, boy. Hey, 20. Come and get it, boy.
I felt a slight twinge of conscience as I prepared to give the dog a dunking. It soon passed. As I'd expected, the dog could swim like a... well, like a dog. What's the problem with the stove?
I don't know. Damn flue seems to be blocked.
Maybe some bird built a nest in the chimney.
Huh?
A gull, maybe, or an albatross.
Albatross my ass. That chimney's too hot. What's wrong with your hand?
In my hand? Oh, friction burns.
Friction burns?
Yeah, I slid down a rope.
You don't want to make a habit of that, pal.
Let me in, and I'll give you this lump of coal.
I got plenty of coal already. You always carry it around in your pocket?
I heard it was lucky.
Superstitious crap. I got a whole bucket of it in here, and it ain't brought me no luck.
Do you recognize this metal cone?
Say, that's just like the Tin Man wore. You know, the Wizard of Oz.
I'd have never taken you for a fan of Dorothy and Toto.
That dumb kid? She ruined the whole damn thing for me, all that singing and stuff. Anyhow, she wasn't even a real kid. They stuffed her in a corset so her titties didn't show.
See you later. Breaking steel padlocks with my bare hands was a feat I'd never mastered. A sturdy chain and padlock hung around the door handle. The sign looked as if it was firmly attached to the wall. Anyway, I didn't really want it as a souvenir. I couldn't reach the wheel and couldn't see any point in climbing up to it. I decided not to tamper with the clamp. Those jaws looked like it could snap shut at any moment. A sturdy chain and padlock hung around the door handles. This sign also looked firmly attached to the wall. It read, Condor Transglobal. I'd come to the right place. Now all I had to do was get inside. The grill opened from the inside. There was a little grill set. The din must have drowned out the sound of my knocking. Maybe there was a way in up there. The metal housing prevented me from getting to the fan. I wouldn't have been hurt over the din of the fan. No, that's not such a good... That did the trick. The fan clunked and shorted out as its blades were mashed by the boat hook.
Hey, you make any more noise, I break your arms.
That bully needed to be taught a lesson.
Garzak's already mad because we didn't get the stone. You give me any trouble, I'll tell him it was all your fault.
Karzak? That must be his boss. I decided there was a better way to attract their attention. The window was jammed shut. The metal housing prevented...
Who is it?
Is this Condor Transglobal?
Nobody here. Go away.
I'll give you 5 seconds to let me in, or I'll bust down the door.
Okay. I'm coming.
He didn't sound too... I'd better think this through. The boat hook was jammed in the dented... No, that... I don't think so. The room was filled. The guy was partly hidden behind a stack of crates. Not such a good... That was... I wasn't... It read Pont de Nord, fine wine producers. I didn't recognize the label. A sturdy... The clamp was held in a mechanism which forced... I decided not to tamper with the clamp. I couldn't reach the wheel and couldn't see any point in climbing up to it. It was my lucky piece of coal. The grill opened from the inside. Hey,
What now?
my name is Stobart.
What do you want?
I want to return your spider. I pulled its legs off, which is exactly what I'm gonna do to you. I got the feeling he wasn't... The only interesting thing I found was a small brass key. Among the paperwork which adorned the notice board was something which caught my eye. It was a delivery note from Condor Transglobal, and the address was Coramonte City. It was locked. The little brass key didn't fit. All the crates were firmly sealed. The room was filled with transglobal crates. Whoa! Don't shoot! The little guy had a blowpipe. That confirmed my suspicions about what had happened to Nico. I waited for him to shoot me, but it didn't happen. Instead, he seemed to want to tell me something. What? What do you want? He seemed excited, almost desperate. What did he want so bad? Hi, I'm not going to hurt you.
Coramonte!
Is that where you're from? Coramonte City?
Coramonte!
Okay. What have you done with my girlfriend?
Huh?
I am not leaving without her. Where is she? He didn't appear to understand me. What does this key unlock?
Huh?
Hey, you're manacled. Who did this? That big thug? I'm gonna set you free, okay? Hey, come back here! The little guy had gone to ground amongst the stack of crates. I couldn't pry the doors apart with my bare hands. There was usually an easier way to do it. Just in time. Interrupting the beam of light kept the doors from closing and stopped anyone from using the elevator. But what now? The label just wasn't sticky enough to stay in place. That wouldn't work. Not such a... That was... wrong. Not such a... There. That would keep the doors from closing. I was wrestling with the small crate when I noticed the label on its side. Danger. Live contents do not drop. The crate was labeled Danger. There were small holes in the top and sides and scratchy noises coming from inside. It was a large crate with no... There wasn't enough room to move the handle. There wasn't enough room to move the... The statue looked way too heavy for me to move. There wasn't much I could do with a pulley that didn't have any rope. There was no way to open that window. A sturdy beam was jammed across the doors. These doors were not going to open. I decided to leave the electric eye alone. Nothing happened. That was probably because the elevator. There was an arc-shaped scratch on the floor, as if a door had been opened in the nearby wall. My fingers traced the outline of a secret door in the wall. Then I found a small round stud, which was set flush to the surrounding wooden paneling. Just as I'd hoped, a secret room. Nico! Will you look at this? It was a small statue of a kneeling figure in an ornate headdress. The head was hideous, with huge staring eyes set in a decomposing face. Hey! Somebody's marketing Labino dolls. There. How you feeling?
Oh, thanks, Georges. How on earth did you find me?
I knew Oubier had been in Marseille. But never mind about me. How about you tell me exactly what's going on, starting with that Mayan stone?
I picked it up from one of Karzak's men in Paris. I was expecting a consignment of narcotics.
Drugs?
Yes. The proof I needed to expose Karzak's smuggling operation. I'd set it up to act as his courier, and once I had the proof, I planned to go straight to Inspector Mou. But instead of the dope I'd expected, they sent me that stone instead. And to find out more, I called Professor Oubier, who invited me to his mansion. At least, I thought it was Oubier.
I don't get it. If Karzak's business is drugs, why is he so desperate to get his hands on that stone?
Maybe it has some significance to the local people in Central America. It could be Karzak's means of getting them to work for him. Anyway, we've got to get out of here.
Nico, wait! I decided to keep the masking tape. It was bound... Wrong. We can't use the elevator. If that thug Pablo is recovered, he'll be waiting for us.
We've got to do something. Where does that door lead to?
I'm not sure. There was no way to open that window. I couldn't move the crate until I'd blocked the light beam. Hopefully, the tape would prevent those doors from closing and stop the pallet rose about 6 inches off the floor, and I said a silent prayer to whoever had discovered the power of hydraulics.
What on earth are you doing?
Trying to raise the statue so I can hook it to that pulley.
Is that really going to help us?
I like to keep myself occupied in times of stress. There wasn't much I could do with a pulley that didn't have any rope. I wasn't... It would be much easier to attach the rope to the statue. The crate was labeled... It was a flint carving of a grotesque figure with large, evil eyes. There wasn't much I could do with a pulley that did... It was too heavy for me to move on. I didn't want to remove the rope from the... I didn't see a need to raise the car. It was too heavy for... Okay, tell me what you know about Condor.
Condor Transglobal exports Aztec and Mayan relics from Central America to Europe. But that's just a cover for the real business. Drug smuggling.
What proof do you have?
Nothing yet.
Do you know where Condor is based?
In Central America. A place called Quaramonte.
I saw that name on a docket downstairs. Tell me about this Karzak guy.
Well, I saw him for only a few minutes, but he frightens me. I got the impression that Pablo was nervous when he was around too. His eyes, they're like a wild animal's, like a tiger. That's what scared me most about him. He looked so unpredictable and dangerous.
Did you know Ubier's wife was a film star?
No, I didn't know he was married. What happened to her?
She died. In mysterious circumstances, apparently.
How mysterious?
I heard she was murdered. Possibly by Ubier himself.
A murderer, huh? André said he was something of a celebrity.
Did I hear you refer to Inspector Moon?
Yes, you remember him?
Of course I do. But I thought he was dead.
Oh no, he reappeared after the broken sword case had blown over. When he found out who was in with the Neo-Templars, he went into hiding. Moon knew more than was good for him.
Does he know about our involvement with the case?
If he does, he's not telling. Still, he got a sudden promotion.
Did that Indian guy mistreat you?
If you forget about the abduction, verbal threats, and bondage, no.
Well, what about the little guy?
I don't think he knows where he is or what he's doing here. The big guy, Pablo, he brought Titipoco from the jungle.
Titty what?
Titipoco. That's what I heard Pablo call the dwarf.
Could you give me a hand to push this statue?
What for?
This, my dear, is our passport to freedom.
If you say so, dear.
Okay, push! Great teamwork.
Nice to be working with you again, Mr. Stobart.
Do you recognize this?
Is that the dart which knocked me out?
That's right. I kept it as a souvenir. Have you any idea who this little statue is supposed to be?
I'm not very well acquainted with Mayan deities, Georges. But whatever his name, he sure is ugly.
Look, the little guy downstairs was chained up with these.
That must have been Pablo's doing. I don't blame him, though. That little guy is dangerous.
You're still sore about that poison dart?
Of course I'm sore.
I found these in your bag.
Oh, they were a gift.
I know. I read the note.
God knows what was going through André's mind.
I think that's quite plain enough. I thought about hanging from the cable with my bear, but it was too far to the other end of the cable to escape. Nico, I have a great idea.
George, where have you been?
Never mind that. Do you have the Mayan stone?
Maybe I have, but
Don't argue, André. Give the stone to Georges.
Well, of course, if you say so, Nicole.
Thank you so much, Andre.
Georges, he told me you'd been kidnapped, my dear. I'm glad to see he was mistaken.
Oh, but it was true. If it hadn't been for Georges, I wouldn't be here now.
It's not finished yet. Karzak's thugs will be back for that stone, you can bet. The best lead that we have is Coromonte City.
Coromonte is in Central America. That's where Ubier gets his artifacts.
That's all we needed to know. Come on, Georges.
Quaramonte, the traveler's rear entrance to Central America. Well, that's how it was translated in the brochure. We didn't know what we were looking for, but the offices of Condor Transglobal seemed a good place to start.
Hey, it's market day. I don't see any cabs. Let's ask someone how to get to Quaramonte City.
Okay. Keep your eyes peeled for any sign of Condor Transglobal.